Hey guys, it's me, Pokemon Jabber HD, and today we have the start of yet another league on my channel, and this one is one that I would really like to do well, as the last 2 seasons I've been just about average. I've been pretty mediocre after a solid run in the minor leagues of this one, getting runner-up and earning a promotion. So this league is the competitive showdown league. It's in its 10th season, and this is my 3rd season in the majors. We just had the draft earlier today. Well, we split it up in 2 days, but we finished it earlier today. My opponent for week 1 said, "Ready whenever you are," and I was like, you know what, I'll whip up a quick team and let's just do it. Let's get this battle done immediately. And so I built this team relatively quickly compared to usual, but that doesn't mean it's going to be any worse than, or really better than, any of my other teams. But yeah, so this draft, it's an interesting one for me, but I drafted Mega Lopunny, Celesteela, Tapu Fini, Nidoqueen, Serperior, Jolteon, Zoroark, Delphox, Lycanroc, Day, Mesprit, Scyther, and Gastrodon, which Serperior was my franchise pick from the season prior because I loved using it and I just wanted to use it again since it was at a good value where I could franchise it. And then I also had Celesteela on the team last season, which I mean, it's just really good. So whether I was any good with it or not didn't really matter. It's just good on its own. So pretty much how the draft went, we're at varying, picks throughout the draft, but before the draft occurs, we can trade picks and whatnot. So I traded back in the Mega round because it's Mega round, A tiers, B tiers, C tiers, D tiers, E tiers, and then the last one's a bonus round based off of your Mega, and then if you picked any Mons early. So I ended up with Mega Lopunny with the 19th Mega pick since it was still there, and I was like, you know what? I've never actually used it, and I tend to go for the lower tiered Megas just because I usually like the point benefit or just extra bonus that you usually get from picking a Mega that's not top tier, and usually I try to find one that's, best value within wherever it is, but this time I was like, you know what? Mega Lopunny is usually off the board pretty quickly, so I never end up getting it, and I wanted to give it a shot. And so in this league we are the Los Angeles Reshirams, the last one that I am that team name, as I've mostly changed over to the Los Angeles Lookers. But my opponent for this week is the bottom team, and it's Finny, who's a really good battler. I don't know if we've battled yet before, but if we did, I assume I lost, but I don't think we played last season, so I'm thinking that we have not played yet. And he is coach of the Finnish Blizzards, and his team consists of Mega Sceptile, Azumarill, Heatran, Crobat, Mimikyu, Porygon 2, Hitmontop, Piloswine, Alolan Raichu, Cryogonal, Bibarel, and Skarmory. And I believe the Z-Mons on his team are Heatran, Mimikyu, and Alolan Raichu, while on my team it is the Celesteela, Delphox, and the Lycanroc. And so the first thing I notice about this team is that, like most teams, I think Celesteela is just amazing. There's Heatran and Alolan Raichu, but beyond that, everything has to just chip down Celesteela rather than being able to really do significant damage. So obviously a bulky Celesteela seems really nice here. And then also, since I do have a very fast draft, but he has one Mega that is faster than mine, I figured I would need a Scarfer or something to just outspeed everything comfortably, including the Sceptile, since I very much expect it to come. But I got a little creative with that one, which you'll see in a little bit. And then, well, it's probably not that creative by now, but regardless, it's not just a cookie cutter set for Jolteon. And then, lastly, I didn't want to get swept by Azumarill, since I didn't want to bring Tapu Fini, so I knew I wouldn't really have any water resist, so that kind of leads into the first one you see right here, which is my Nidoqueen, which is a very bulky set with Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Flamethrower, and Toxic Spikes with the Pasho Berry. So obviously no grounded poison type, but does have, you know, many spinning and defog options, but I'm okay with it either actually poisoning things, or even if it just forces a defog or spin, that's totally fine with me. And then the Pasho Berry to help with Azumarill, since even just like a banded set could really do a lot of damage to me, so I figured that it would be nice to just always have a for sure, you know, way to beat the Azumarill, or at least have, you know, something that I can't really switch it in comfortably, but even if it, say, gets a kill, and then I can go into this and just eliminate the threat, or at least, you know, make him switch out until it doesn't put as much pressure on me. But then it also can help with other physical attackers like Mimikyu, and, you know, even Crobat to a little bit of extent. And then also the Bibarel, the Pasho Berry helps as well. So it kind of just the blanket check for physical attackers and the Hitmontop as well, other than the Piloswine is the only real physical attacker that I'm, you know, not really going to do much to. And so I figured that was just an easy bring that could cover a lot. Then next we have, the speed is 219, because that hits one above what Jolly Azumarill max speed hits, just because I want it to have to Aqua Jet rather than Liquidation or Waterfall on me. And then next we have the Jolteon here with Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, HP Ice, Toxic with the Flame Orb and Quick Feet. So Porygon 2, you know, gets Trace, so I didn't want to run Volt Absorb, even if I wasn't going to use Flame Orb. No matter what, if I was bringing this, I was going to run Quick Feet. That's like, I just can't let that switch in, even if I'm trying to like Volt Switch on the team. But I didn't really see myself Volt Switching on the team that much, because Mega Sceptile can be annoying, and if I'm Volt Switching most of the time, you know, Jolteon is naturally slower, so that becomes an issue. So I figured that with the Flame Orb and Quick Feet, I'm actually faster, and I didn't need any speed investment to outspeed the Mega Sceptile whatsoever. So, and there wasn't anything I really wanted to speed creep to be faster than, because I didn't really care about Mimikyu being faster, since I've got answers for that. And then, I mean, there's not really much else in the speed tier that I would be hitting that would really bother me too much. So I figured that since I'm not running any speed whatsoever, I can put that to use in its bulk, which I put it in defense and special defense equally, just to give it as much, and then modest, since I don't need any speed. And I didn't want to put it in HP just because I'm, you know, willingly taking 6% each time, so I'm making the 6% be less than less actual, you know, real number HP than if I'm investing in HP. So I just didn't see the point in doing so. But it's, you know, pretty simple. Thunderbolt covers a lot. Shadow Ball covers the Raichu really, and then Toxic for the Porygon 2, and HP Ice for the Mega Sceptile. Then next up we have Mega Lopunny, which, since I've never really run it before, I figured the pretty standard stuff seemed like it would do pretty good, with High Jump Kick, Return, Power Up Punch, Quick Attack, just to last two, giving me the option since I don't really need any other coverage than normal in fighting. And I'm Jolly with enough speed to outspeed Crobat. And Fake Out and Quick Attack would have been nice to have both, but I definitely wanted Power Up Punch since there was the Skarmory, which it definitely could be Rocky Helmet, or it could have, you know, Counter, something like that to be a switch in. But I figured if I, you know, Power Up Punch, then High Jump Kick is going to do a lot to where it doesn't actually Roost Stall me. So I figured that I could, on a prediction, I can always just Power Punch or just a easy revenge kill, and then obviously Quick Attack just to get any potential Scarfer or the Mega Sceptile once it's down to around, I want to say it was like 30%, like 30 to 35 is like the roll for no HP. So if I can get it under 30%, I can click quick attack confidently against it. Then next up we have Mesprit, which is just fully specially defensive Psyshock knockoff Hidden Power Ground Stealth Rock with leftovers. So although it's designed to be my for sure switch into Mega Sceptile, I couldn't really fit a nice move on it just because I figured that in all likelihood, if you see that this is my switch in, it doesn't do that much damage to me as compared to what you would expect with the Mega Sceptile. You're probably going to switch out most of the time anyway, so I just kind of want to cover the team as well as I could. So obviously knock off for the Porygon 2 to get that EV Light off and make it much easier to beat. And then Psyshock and Hidden Power Ground kind of just cover most of the rest of the team for the most part. Like Psyshock, the only resist is Skarmory, so worst case if Skarmory's gonna want to switch in on me, I can knock off either a leftovers or a Rocky Helm or something, and then the rest I'm just spamming Psyshock other than the Heat Train for Hidden Power Ground. So although it's not gonna do a whole lot of damage, I just want it to sit there, take some hits, and just weaken everything so that I can finish off with a lot of my faster threats. And speaking of those faster threats, we have Lycanroc here with Stone Edge, Accelerock, Zen Headbutt, Swords Dance, and the Lycanium Z for the Splintered Storm Shard, I think that's what it's called, with enough speed to outspeed Alolan Raichu. And so this one, I mean, there's no rock resist other than Hitmontop, so just covered the Hitmontop with the Zen Headbutt, and then Stone Edge, Accelerock, just for the strong stab, and then obviously nice priority, and then the Z move just hits so hard. So if I can Swords Dance up and I can Z move one of the fat things, I mean obviously Skarmory would be the most preferred, but I'm okay with getting it on the Porygon 2 or just ensuring a KO on something that's caused me issues, maybe the Piloswine as well. One of those, if I can use a Z move on it just to either get rid of it or just really chip it down to help with the other faster threats on my team, then that should put me in a really good position. And then last on the team is Celesteela with a pretty standard set. Leftovers, Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Flamethrower, Leech Seed. The Earthquake Flamethrower covers everything that I don't want a Heavy Slam, being the two Steel types in Skarmory and Heatran. And then obviously Leech Seed's just nice for recovery, and it's just a mixed defensive, so I'm making it defense boosting because, I mean, its main purpose will be to take on, most likely, help me take on the Azumarill, Mimikyu, Hitmontop, and Piloswine, and Bibarel. So it's not just the Nidoqueen that's not as reliable. I can have a combination of the Nidoqueen and the Celesteela, but also just based off of its typing, it's going to be a solid switch into Mega Sceptile, which is definitely a threat. So I did want it to have at least some special defense, so I wouldn't get KO'd by like a Hidden Power Fire. And so that is the team, and I will be back with Team Preview. And we are here on the battlefield with Team Preview. And so my opponent brings the Mega Sceptile, Skarmory, Porygon 2, Alolan Raichu, Cryogonal, and Hitmontop. And so with that, and I'm looking at Team Preview, I see that Alolan Raichu is the only Z user that was brought. So if there's a Z move, it's going to be on that Raichu. Then there's 3 forms of hazard removal in Skarmory, Cryogonal, and Hitmontop. I'm assuming only one will have it. And lastly, that Nidoqueen, a lot of the things that it was built to take on aren't really here. So I'm willing to play just, willy-nilly with it and let it be the most likely first sack to to just scout out some sets, and also to set up some T-spikes to be able to see which hazard remover has the rapid spin or defog, and then hopefully, best case, actually poison some things with toxic spikes. But I am going to lead off with the Mesprit because I don't want to be in a bad position against Mega Sceptile, and worst case, I can, knock off an item, set up rocks, and so I don't really see too much of a downside. It doesn't immediately lose to any of these mons actually, so I think that puts me in the best position, while my opponent leads with the Porygon 2, so I get the free knockoff, get the Eviolite off turn 1, so that's amazing. Goes for Tri-Attack, doesn't do much, so sweet. I get to then set up my Stealth Rock, as he's just going to continue going for Tri-Attack, so since I see that he's just wanting to stay in, I think it's obvious that I can't really do a whole lot of damage, I can just go to my Nidoqueen, see what it's doing, and he goes for T-Bolt, probably predicting the Celesteela. I just go for Flamethrower in case the hard into Cryogonal is a thing, but actually, so we're seeing with the Ice Beam, I don't think I noticed until then that since the Porygon 2 isn't Trace, and it's it's not download, I think that means it actually has to be analytic, but I don't think during the battle I ever really thought about that. I don't think I ended up calking, but it does do a lot of damage for the Porygon 2 that I'm assuming doesn't really have much special attack investment, so if it is indeed analytic like I'm thinking right now, that makes sense for all the damage it was doing right here, but also you can see how much of a difference the especially defensive Mesprit versus my Nidoqueen is. But I just set up 2 layers of toxic spikes to be able to force the hazard clearing, as the Porygon 2 is just going to knock me out with another Ice Beam. So that just gives me the free switch into Mega Lopunny. So I can just immediately go for the Power Up Punch since I know he's switching, and so then I can also gauge the Skarmory set here, which I do see it's Rocky Helmet and it's extremely defensive. So I can just switch out right into the Jolteon as he goes for rocks, which was a really, if I had just high jump kicked there, I mean, I probably never would have, but knowing that I would switch, that was a good play. But it also did give me the free Flame Orb, so now I am faster than the entire team, as I'm free to just go for Thunderbolt. And why did I say there's 2 toxic spikes? There's only 1, but then that does a ton of damage, and I can just go for the Shadow Ball, killing off the Alolan Raichu immediately, so I do not have to deal with the Z move whatsoever, and that obviously helps out Celesteela with nothing having a super effective stab against it. So then next he's going to go into Cryogonal because he can take a hit, so I'm going to T-Bolt, hoping it would 2-hit KO since I'm modest, but it doesn't. It is not 2-hit KOing with the leftovers, so he gets rid of the hazards with the Rapid Spin, as Ice Beam does do a good chunk to me, and I get the Toxic off so he can't recover stall me, since I am willingly taking away my health with the Flame Orb. So then I do switch into my Celesteela, and that Ice Beam still does a lot, so it does a lot more than I'd like, but it's whatever. And I'm going to go for the Leech Seed, anticipating a switch since I can just knock him out, but instead he just stays in, showing that he's just going to sack this. So unfortunately that means I'm going to take more damage than I'd like, but so be it. I can just Heavy Slam here since he's clearly not going to switch out. And then actually I Flamethrower in case of the Skarmory, but whatever. Either way, I knock out, and I guess Skarmory probably shouldn't come in anyway. But then he goes into the Mega Sceptile because I get the defensive Beast Boost, so I'm assuming he thinks that this Hidden Power kills, but it might be a roll, I don't know. It doesn't kill me. I get the Heavy Slam off since I'm just sacking this at this point because it's too weak to really do anything else, and he knocks me out with the Dragon Pulse, and I do have a lot of good damage on this, but it's not enough for my priority to actually kill it yet. And so I'm going to go into my Mesprit because it does take any hit other than a Leaf Storm, which then puts me in a really good position with one of my sweepers in Lopunny or Lycanroc. And so I go for the or on the obvious recover, I can go into my Lycanroc, and I'm assuming that the Hitmontop will come in, so I'm gonna go straight away for the Zen Headbutt instead of trying to set up, because I don't want to get destroyed by a potential Technician Mach Punch. So then I do switch into my Mesprit, knowing now that it is an Intimidate, and it's pretty bulky. It's not max HP, max defense, but it's got a lot of HP or defense that at least in addition to the Intimidate. So I do then get up my rocks, because at this point I want that extra chip damage, and Giga Drain, as you see, does not kill me, so I can go for the Psyshock, and now I have the damage that I wanted for either Lycanroc or Lopunny to eventually win, because at this point the only obstacle is the Hitmontop. Obviously, if it has Mach Punch, it's going to do a lot of damage, but since it's Intimidate and not Technician, that's going to help me a lot in that it can't actually kill either Lopunny or the Lycanroc from here, so I'm not afraid of losing to that. And so basically what I'm looking at this point is I just need to have either Lopunny or Lycanroc break for the other, and I figure that Skarmory, while it's a good switch into both, it probably doesn't have both a flying move and a steel move, so one of them sets up on it, which I assume flying just because it's the obvious one for my Mega Lopunny, but regardless, one of them will help break down Skarmory for the other. And so now I'm totally free. I'm totally okay with this going down, as it did its job. So then I go into Lopunny, since I know a quick attack will kill this, and he goes into the Hitmontop, and I double check with the damage output on the quick attack, and I'm pretty sure a high jump kick will kill. I'm not entirely sure, but at least I'm calculating just max HP. Most of the hits the 2 hits that it took before were in line with max HP, so it was something similar to that. And if that was the case, then high jump kick always killed. So I was hoping it wasn't too risky, and I was afraid I was gonna have to take the Mach Punch damage, but I was willing to do that. And so he goes into the Skarmory, as that lets me go into my Jolteon, which then he goes for the Roost. Good play, to expecting my switch most likely, because I shouldn't be going Rocky Helmet into that, so I can just T-Bolt, and right here I can just go for Toxic. I know the Skarmory's obviously not coming in, since I can live 2 more turns, and he's probably just going to recover spam as I'm dying, so Toxic will at least let me wear it down a little more. And then here I go for HP Ice just in case. I know he's going to go for recover most likely, but in case he wants to be cheeky and get the special attack boost on Mega Sceptile, but Mega Sceptile really isn't a threat since I have the Accelerock and the quick attack. So here I go into my Lycanroc, because I'm pretty healthy and I can Swords Dance up, and I know that it has only Tri-Attack and Ice Beam that it's going to try to hit me with, and T-Bolt, so Ice Beam or T-Bolt's coming out, and I'd rather take that than a Tri-Attack with Mega Lopunny, so I figure that this is going to have the most chance of living whatever hit comes in, and then I can get rid of this with my Z move. I do calc I don't remember what the spread was on this, I wasn't really calcing the Porygon 2 very much at this time, so I just went for the Z move, which I think when I was calculating anyway, I had the EV Light still on, so I don't know if I really needed to go for the Z move there. It would have been nice to preserve it for the Skarmory at this point, but I also didn't want to miss Stone Edge, so I'm okay with, even if it was just to make sure I hit, I'm okay with that. Then he goes for Sceptile, where I can just Accelerock this. I don't think you go into Sceptile to switch into Skarmory just for some damage, so I then now can just go for a Stone Edge, gauge the damage, does 54, so that's nice. Roost gets it up a good amount. Since there's no leftovers, I'm doing more, and then now my roll does even more this time, so he's losing health, but eventually I might have to Swords Dance or something, but instead I just immediately get the crit. So it does end it earlier than it would have if I didn't get that crit. Instead, I would have had to, most likely, at least what I was thinking during the battle was, oh, you know, if he's just going to roost stall and try to just maybe stall me out of my Stone Edges, I'll go for the Swords Dance so I can find out whether it's, you know, Brave Bird, Drill Peck, or Iron Head, you know, something, what's the move, because then he can only kill one of my Lopunny or Lycanroc, and so I guess, you know, then once I Swords Dance up again, then Stone Edge is doing too much to where he can't recover, so, or at least recover stall as long as I'm hitting my move. So I mean, it definitely did put it in jeopardy that I didn't save that Z move, but I think regardless, I was going to, you know, eventually, as long as I was hitting my Stone Edges, I was going to either crit or just continue hitting and get that Swords Dance up, since I did find out after the battle, because I asked, it was Drill Peck, which Drill Peck does not KO Lycanroc at all from this range, so it would take 2, and so that does for sure give me a Swords Dance unless he has like Whirlwind or something, which I was not informed of. So glad that we started with a nice 1-0 win against a solid opponent, so got the first game out of the way with this team and came out on top. So hopefully we can continue this success in the competitive Showdown League and maybe win one last title for the Los Angeles Reshirams. Thank you for watching. Bye!